Teens of Denial's recent re-release is the most recent example of an artist trying to reinvent the wheel. Strange decisions made to change an album about being a new adult, transitioning to college, and fucking up your whole life. One of a few albums that gets more relevant to me as time goes on. Which is what makes it so confusing to make a version without all of the childish swearing at the world. Will Toledo seems to be trying to hide the provocative part of his career on this album. He's been a genuine icon for incredible indie music and a staple of my music taste ever since I heard Twin Fantasy for the first time. His lyricism has been a consistent highlight to me for understanding what it's like to have imposter syndrome but still bare yourself to the world at large, which makes it even more confusing to me that he wishes to make an album that you can check out at the library. Will, you've made numerous records about being a gay furry, airing out of your troubled relationships. Why is it you now have some kind of obsession with being clean? I hope this isn't some kind of sign what's going to happen in the future for the band. Let's get into the album.
I'm so sick of fill in the blank.
Fill in the blank sounds mostly the same. It's not like these are bad songs in the first place. He's just taking them and trying to fit them to a full story rather than a concept album. I'm not really against that really, I like Scholars, but the lyric, "We know what you are," just doesn't hit as hard as the original one, and it feels weird. There's no conclusion to the bridge at all.
And half the time I want to go home.
Vincent is where I start to question things. The vocal performance and changed lyrics just don't make sense, even within a clean version.
And the sequel! And the sequel! And the sequel! And the sequel!
And the sequel? What does that even mean? Are you saying the horror movie of your life keeps repeating in a very weird lyric that already made sense by saying pure sadism? I could find a book at the library of sadism. I can check out It by Stephen King at the library, and we literally all know what that book has in it. The lyric just feels unfinished without the direct gut punch. Sonically the same otherwise, the drums are louder, but that goes for every track here. I kinda like it though. Hippie Powers has been the most critically panned re-recording from people. This isn't surprising considering that the climax of the song's lyrics is of him saying he killed his former self for being too naive. And they butchered it completely. You killed your brother? Is that the new story? It is significantly more compelling as a self-destructive urge to act on within the song about ruining your mind with drugs. Essentially supposed to be the straight version of Souls, which is already a straight version of Sober to Death. There's already a straight version of Beach
Friends.
Drugs are better with friends.
Joe gets kicked out of school is yet another strange one lyrically. Dying alien? Really? Walking piece of shit is putting himself down in two ways. What does dying alien convey other than a picture of him in a chair high? He feels awful about his choices and physically disgusted with himself. Wet his pants is just silly. You could say piss on a show aimed for teenagers. You could say crap. It's just lazy. What are you doing?
I was an optimistic son, excited to love.
Optimistic Sun takes the place of Not What I Needed. I actually like this song, but it really doesn't fit sonically into the album at all. I think that Not What I Needed didn't fit conceptually into the narrative, but it still fits sonically. This sounds more like a song off the Scholars. I like both songs, but Not What I Need is obviously the better song. Unfortunately, I think this suffers from being a Scholars B-side more than it is a re-recorded and within the same universe of Teens of Denial song. I think he spent way too much time in this universe. However, in this, the bridge and the outro are fucking killer.
Drunk drivers, drunk drivers. It doesn't have to be like.
Drunk Drivers just makes me mad. The re-recording removes any nuance and delivery of the quiet parts. Why are the bridges now at the forefront of the mix? Who thought that was a good idea? About a song about nearly killing yourself with alcohol. Could they not achieve the same unfocused vocal effect again? Become the star of my own TV show sounds fine, but the original lyrics fit into the song's narrative so well already. I don't really like his high-pitched performance on here. It feels like he can't articulate in those frequencies consistently. This song has a problem as well where the drums are too prominent, even though I said that I liked them earlier, and the vocals slowly get unfocused instead of raising and lowering them. Who produced this? Why are the overdubs so bad? Let's take a bit of a break here to talk about something else. This record stands in such stark contrast to Twin Fantasy 2018, where it becomes confusing to believe they had any consistent motivation here. It was understandable to remake Twin Fantasy given that it was incredibly lo-fi and had a lot that they could do with it sonically. But what does remaking a major label debut actually do for the band to push them forwards? It's like if I spent 3 months re-recording, re-editing, and rewriting my first video script just to release it without any of the spice or angst or any of the things that made people enjoy it. Them shadow dropping this record feels like they had no confidence in it either. Though something else bothers me. Oh boy, it's time to show how annoying Seat Headrest fans are. Are we ready? They're pretty insane this time. I like the band, but I really didn't know how delusional they were until today about Will Toledo.
Now we're never gonna get a job. Now we're never gonna get a job. Now we're never gonna get a job. Now we're never gonna get a job.
Speculating that grown men are not friends because they posted some gay shit about being respectful of all cultures and orientations is not the same as I want to convert all gay people to Christians. That's actually the job of Catholics. 1937 State Park is just fine. There's no intro anymore in the song, unfortunately, but other than that, it just doesn't feel different enough to be mad about. The xylophone synth solo is just worse, though. It feels too sloppy when leaning back into the song. It's supposed to be an interesting breakdown, but they just didn't let it breathe at all.
Spend years of thinking he was better or bitter.
Joe Drives Again takes the place of Unforgiving Girl. I didn't really care for the song in the first place. I like this new one. I think it serves as a good breakup between 1937 and Cosmic Hero, but it fills a very similar role in an upbeat way to 1937, so I'm not really sure that it feels fitting here. This does again feel like a song off the Scholars. If they had just re-recorded the entire album, it wouldn't feel out of place, but they used overdubs for most of the things here. I don't know if it would have been better than Unforgiving Girl, but I don't know, we would have seen. Cosmic Hero, one of the best songs of the album originally. It's still good here. The lyrical changes are not as bad as anywhere else, but some of them still feel off. I think the best change, unironically, is the Of Course No Art of Death. I just wish it wasn't in my life so much. The problem change in lyrics is removing the fuck you background vocals in the It'll Be Alright section. It's less impactful without the voice screaming at the world instead of the don't destroy yourself lyric. The room for all in heaven line feels less urgent without the idea that it's on the edge of breaking and giving up. Otherwise, it's Cosmic Hero. I don't think you're going to do anything to completely destroy it.
Let us take you back to where we came in. We were united and undivided nation. We got divided.
The Ravenous House is the replacement for the climax of the record, the Ballad of the Costa Concordia. It's just barely edging on being just as good. However, before I talk about the rest of the song, I just have to say how hypocritical this one is in comparison to the rest of the record being so clean. I mean, he directly says walking suicide. Come on, Will. You spent the rest of the album refraining from this, but you couldn't fit an unalive in there? Otherwise, the rest of the full narrative of the record... This song is fantastic as a lament for not living up to his brother Matt, but I can't escape talking about how fitting the original was as well. Costa Concordia works as a double entendre for his life and school career. He's a waste of space and can't live up to his expectations, his family, and his school. I just love that line in the original about lamenting that it was an expensive mistake and that people never showed him how to live at all. The new one does a good job with the narrative, but it honestly doesn't capture the same atmosphere. It's just not explosive. And like the rest of the record, it continues this issue of just not having intros and outros be quieter and less pronounced than the rest of the song. I'm going to go off on the narrative a little bit, though. It feels like making the first line in Fill in the Blank's new story be that his brother had a terminal illness was a complete lie when the album itself hints at his belief that he's inferior to his own family. It's like if Husker Du came out and said that Pink Turns to Blue isn't actually about a dead junkie, when it said his sister was not choked to death from AIDS complications or something. Just really strange stuff.
Little boy, here's something new about love.
Connect the Dots song for Secretariat is pretty good. I would say the instrumentation has some changes that I like in different ways than the original at times. The guitars are actually dynamic unlike the rest of the record, and the breakdown is fucking fantastic. I actually prefer the line, "We were beloved back home," since Heroes Back Home doesn't really convey the scale Joe believes in himself. But none of this really convinces me that it is better than the original, but I just don't think it needs to be. A major issue on this record as a whole is that lyrically the mixing of the overdubs just sounds terrible. I've said this before, I feel like it's just as bad, or if not worse, than some of the other songs on this record. Joe Goes to School doesn't really matter, to be honest. It's the same. The original was better. What am I supposed to say? They should have just entirely re-recorded the album if they want to do this half-assed hack job. A lot of the record just sounds worse, but strangely paced. It's still Teens of Denial, so you can't really fuck it up if you stick to the same shit it does, but you can definitely fuck with the sequencing and misunderstand what made the record good. Lyric changes almost always do not fit the singing of the lyricism. A lot of the album being about drugs, sex, misanthropy, and alcohol just makes you sound dumb when you compare the two albums lyrically. Maybe it's understandable what happened, considering how much he states in the Matador letter that he started this last year with the band, and it doesn't seem like they tried very hard to make a full re-recording. It's half-assed. There's an air about this whole thing that they just made it fast to try and reach the anniversary after demos of the album released last year. I'm just going to go ahead and say, I don't hate this. People are being too harsh on this recording as a whole. Seeing it for what it is, a supplemental piece to the original, I can't see it as anything but just alright. Will wants you to believe that they put a lot of thought into it and it's the ultimate version of the story you want to tell, but he's just not being honest. This just didn't have the kind of care you would normally put into an album. Crusaders fans just gotta lay down their arms and sometimes realize that the artist might actually just straight up be lying to the audience. And that'll do it for me today.
Let us take you back to where you came in, a man clinging to an album of revelations. You scared of what he might find, you started crying, it was not me. Stop by the studio, they stripped his supplies, so he listened to an album that had a Pitchfork 8.5. It was about death, he didn't help, he was the one in it. But he couldn't say what, because he's a terrible singer.
So he made fun of Will. He can't sing a single lyric. I give up. What the fuck do you want from me? I can't sing. This sucks. I'm just getting in the video now.